Okay, next up, of course, is Lou Altfest.
How many groups do you think we have at our firm? And I'm going to tell you how I know. How many different distinctive groups? Well, and we have 3 teams, but how many groups in performing different activities?
16.
That's pretty close. 22. And how did I get to know that odd statistic? Because we all lined up for pictures. 22 times. I must have been in 15 of the 22 or 18. I don't know. But in a way, it brought back thoughts of my starting many years ago. And at that time, while Karen was raising our children, I was there by myself, establishing the firm. And a woman came up. Her name was Doris Lehrman, and she was a mature woman with a lot of experience as a CPA. And she came to me just like straight like this and said, "I want to work for you." So I said, "I can't afford you." So she said, "That's okay, you don't have to pay me." And she became our first worker. She became our first planner. And then when she retired years later, she became our outside accountant. And it's sort of looking around and seeing all of these people who speak so eloquently, and how much effort has gone in, and each of them is at least 20% improved over what they did a year ago. And more importantly, they have the brain power, and more importantly, we have Karen, and we have who's clearly our people and relationship and person and marketing person, and Andrew, who was done more than you can realize over the last few years in ideas and in leadership here. And then we have our directors, and then we have our regular people. I'll stack our regular people that you deal with. You deal with directors, and you deal with the regular people, you deal with me. I'm involved in selecting and in ways that you don't know or you may not know, that when you come in with a portfolio, I give the buy or sell decisions on each, hold or sell decisions on each stock. But our people, just our regular people, I'll stack up against anyone. They're really good people. It takes us about 6 months to get, after looking for someone, to get somebody in our firm, because we have high standards. We're considered a pain in the by many people for doing that. So I just thought I would bring that up, but I'd like to go on now to another point. By the way, I'll just mention, since I have to be complete in what I say, that it's not just brain power, it's the people we select have to have personalities, have to be able to relate. That's the difference between what we do and what Charles does in part. Charles manages money. We help people, and I'm being presumptuous here, but we help people manage their financial lives, and we know their activities, and only certain kinds of people can do that well. All right, so let me talk about the economy. The economy now has a couple of pluses. Home building is a big plus right now. People are spending money, and homes are being built. The second thing is retail sales are pretty good. Very recently, coming out of a relatively weak first quarter, although I'm a little dubious about the statistics given to us by the government, which seems to be cyclically adjusted in a weird way. But for whatever it is, things are getting better. The bad part is unemployment that just came out, and or I should say employment. The employment growth figures have not been good, and it's not the consumer that's the difficulty. I think it's business. I think business is concerned about the future and who's going to be, which administration is going to be in power and what they're going to do, and they're keeping their hands in their pockets as far as capital expenditures are concerned. So I don't think we have enough difficulty to have a recession right now, but you never can tell. And if we had a recession, what would we do? Well, what we would do is move now from monetary policy to fiscal policy. In case you don't know what that means, it means moving from the money supply and the Federal Reserve and raising or lowering interest rates to fiscal, which is government spending. And government spending is likely to come out of either administration, either Republican or Democratic. And our country, actually, even if we don't have a recession, I believe that we're going to get that government spending. At the current time, our rate of growth of around 2%, it could be greater than 2%. And a fiscal stimulus for a shorter period of time could be very helpful. And I don't know, I would say there's more to it than that. In our country, I'm distressed, and I'm sure you are, to see so many people who, instead of coming together, and I'm not just talking about Democrats versus Republicans, but our people are going to the extremes because some of them have been caught short by what's going on, and they don't see the upturn since 2008, and we have to do something about that. And Janet Yellen knows that, and Janet Yellen is, in my ear, it sounds a little weird. She's encouraging inflation. Inflation is like cancer in a way. It grows and grows and grows. It just doesn't stop. But for a period of time, it may well be helpful. And hopefully, we're going to get that inflation. So I'm going to go on to my next point of view, and I'll be talking more about this in my Lunch with Lou, so you can tune in. But I just want to give you a smattering of it now. It is influencing our investment activities. One of them is, as Ekta pointed out, our movement into inflation index bonds. The assumption is that inflation in the country is not a problem. I think it's going to become a problem anywhere between the next 3 months or the next year and a half. And having inflation index bonds is not going to make you a lot of money. I don't think bonds in general are going to make you a lot of money unless we can load up on those closed-end funds like we did. One of them was up 19%, is up 19% this year. But besides that, it will make our portfolio a little more conservative, and that's been Ekta's point at our meetings, and I think it's a very good point. And the second thing that we're going to do is invest in China. China is one of the few really, truly undervalued areas, although Charles will discuss some that he sees that are very provocative and have been very successful. And China has a problem. The problem is that its debt is growing. And the question is that going to undercut China? And their debt is growing, and some of it is bad debt, and they're hiding it. But the government has a balance sheet that could kill. It's very strong, and it is not like us, an entrepreneurial economy. It's a command economy in which the President Xi says, we're going to do this, and it gets done. And with a balance sheet to support it, I believe over the next few years that China will continue to grow. It's not going to grow at the rates that it did grow, but it will grow at a rate that's at least twice that of the US or Europe. So we're looking at investing, and as we speak, it is happening currently. We've started our investment program, and we're going to be putting in 2 mutual funds in China, from China. One of them is a dividend yielding portfolio, which is yielding about 3.6% currently, and it's growing very rapidly. And our stress in China is going to be in the consumer sector. These funds are in the consumer sector, and they're likely to continue to do well.